Welcome to the channel. This is the very first tip podcast that's terrible isn't permanent. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually going to be a podcast. I'm just testing some things out. This is going to be a little different from the content that I usually do. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. So just going to try something different here. The topic at hand is going to be Florida gun laws. And this is something that I really wanted to talk about and share with you guys, for the for the people that reside in the state of Florida. To me, it's a little ironic that me being a new gun owner and a lot of people come to me and they have these these questions about acquiring their first firearm, how to get one, how to get a weapons license, a concealed weapons carry permit, and so forth. So I figure, why not go over the Florida gun laws and share this information with you guys? I mean, you could obviously Google it, yourself, like I did, and pull up this website that you see on the screen here. But we'll go through it together. I have no problem sharing my knowledge with you, especially if you're not a reading person. So one sec, let me just try to adjust this really quick. All right. So Florida gun laws. Let me just do a quick recap. The reason why I want to talk about this topic is because I'm a new gun owner. And, almost every day it seems like I'm getting questions like, where do I buy a firearm? Do I need a license before I buy a firearm? You can literally buy a firearm off the street, meaning that someone wants to sell you a firearm, you can buy it from them directly, just like how you use the your apps, like your not eBay, but like your OfferUp, Craigslist. You meet up with somebody and you purchase goods from them. Same thing, you can purchase in the state of Florida, you can purchase a firearm off somebody. They can sell you a firearm. Then you get questions like, oh, well, what if it's a murder weapon? Or, what if the weapon got a body on it? What if they caught a body on it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, use your common sense. You don't want to purchase a firearm off somebody in a dark alley, from the trunk of their car. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's kind of stereotypical because that's what we see in a lot of movies, and it's always in the urban, areas in the community, the low income communities, where it seems like those type of firearm transactions occur. But that's not the reality. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can purchase a firearm off an individual in the parking lot of Publix, in the parking lot of Walmart, in the parking lot of Starbucks, if that makes you feel more safe and secure, or whatever the case may be, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there because there's a misconception that, people don't think that you can do that in the state of Florida. So without further ado, for like the third or the fourth or the 10th time, we're going to be talking about Florida. This is the state constitutional provision. I can't speak. State constitutional provision. Article 1, Section 8. Excuse me. Let me just take a sip of my silkworm tea real quick. It's very healthy. Got that silkworm color and texture to it as well. All right. The right of the people to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves and of the lawful authority of the state shall not be infringed, except that the manner of bearing arms may be regulated by law. There shall be a mandatory period of 3 days, excluding weekends and legal holidays, between the purchase and delivery at retail of any handgun. Let me pause really quick. That's very important. I do get questions about, okay, if I buy a firearm, is there a waiting period? Do they do background checks? Of course they do background checks. They don't want anyone that got 10 bodies to be, if you already got 10 bodies, I'm pretty sure you use a firearm to get 10 bodies, right? But let's put it in this perspective. if you planned on getting at least 10 bodies, they don't want you to purchase a firearm because the chances are that you're documented in their system that you have a mental issue. Or let me not say mental issue because that's a sensitive term, right? That's poor terminology. This is an educational channel. Mental illness, okay? If you have a mental illness, right, such as anger, depression, like a split personality type thing, they don't want these firearms to be in the hands of the wrong people or person. So there is a waiting period. It is usually 3 days. Now, if you do have your CCW, your concealed carry weapons permit, it's within a day, maybe a couple hours, hell, maybe even the next 5 minutes. Okay. When I first got my firearm, when I first got my SIG P320, as soon as it got shipped to the FFL, the firearm. Ooh, I gotta edit that part out because that's terrible. Wait, you know what? I'm not gonna edit it. This is gonna be straight raw. Hold on 1 second. I'm just pulling a blank. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. But when I had my firearm shipped to FFL here in Florida, they ran a background check and it took less than, like, I want to say the most was maybe 30 minutes. I want to say it was 30 minutes because it was the first time that I was purchasing a firearm, and it was the first time that my name, I guess, was being ran in whatever system, that they use. So when you do purchase a firearm, obviously it has to be a federal firearms licensee, right? And they do run a background check. So long story less long, yes, it takes about 3 days, maybe longer if you got some crazy shit on your background. Maybe they're trying to sort it out to make sure it got expunged or something like that. But yes, people, they do run a background check. And before I carry on, one last thing I do want to add. Also, they want to run a background check because, say if you got into an argument with somebody, it's been long going, or maybe you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you said fuck the world, and somebody may have bumped into you when you're walking into Starbucks or something like that, and you took it to level 10 for no reason. Like, this mother, he bumped into, I can't believe, I got something for him. He didn't even turn around and say apologize. He had like I didn't even exist. They do this to prevent you from making a stupid ass decision. Number one, you're going to be throwing away your life. Or number one, you're going to be taking a life from someone that's loved, that's appreciated, taking away the life of a family man or what have you. So they give that added time so you can have a sit, so you can sit your ass down and realize, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe he didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why, common sense. But two, that's another reason why, they have a time period of when you receive your firearm, even if you have your concealed carry weapons permit. So continuing on, the purposes of this section, purchase means the transfer or money or other valuable consideration to the retailer, and handgun means a firearm capable of being carried and used by one hand, such as a pistol or revolver. Holders of a concealed weapon permit is prescribed in Florida law shall not be subject to the provisions of this paragraph. Now, when it says that shall not be subject to the provisions of the paragraph, meaning the aforementioned, I have my CCW and I purchased two firearms after I got my first one, and I did have to wait. If you don't know, ATF does the checking, the background checking or whatever. So yeah, it goes through them. Subject to provisions of this paragraph, blah blah. Anyone violating the provisions of subsection B shall be guilty of a felony. You don't want to do that. So this is why it's very important to understand your state's gun law. Your state gun law is very important to know what rules you need to be following when it comes to, being a gun owner, or if you're acquiring about being a gun owner. Yeah, so you could get a felony if you don't follow. Excuse me. You can do this real quick. I'm bougie. I have my pinky up when I'm drinking. But yes, you want to follow the rules. This restriction shall not apply to a trade-in of another handgun. This restriction shall not apply to a trade-in of another handgun. Not sure. We'll get back to that. The legislature of the state of Florida, in a declaration of policy incorporated in its weapon and firearms statute, recognizes that adult citizens of the state retain their constitutional right, their Second Amendment right, to keep and bear firearms for hunting and sporting activities and for defense of self, family, home, and business and its collectibles. This is very important. This is very, very, very important. The reason why you should want a firearm is to protect your family and yourself and your home and things that you deem, valuable. You know what I'm saying? That's why you should have a firearm. And if you're into hunting or like competition shooting, it's a sport. So you should have a firearm for those things. And our glorious Constitution has granted us, us U.S. citizens, that right to bear arms. So let's go over the gun laws overview. So this is referencing rifles and shotguns and handguns. You'll see a permit to purchase. Like I mentioned before, I get a lot of questions from people asking me, do I need a license to purchase a firearm? No, you don't. I follow up with, however, if you get a firearm and you don't have your license, you should get your license. You should work on getting your license soon after. Okay? And this goes for rifles and shotguns and handguns. Funny story, I'm going to have to keep repeating this, but when people ask me that question, I tell them, I was like, hey, I bought my handgun and I didn't have a license. I ordered mine online. They're like, you can buy guns online? I'm like, yeah, where else are you going to buy it from if you don't go to like a gun store or a pawn shop? You can order it online and they can have it sent directly to a federal firearm license. See, right? See, I'm keeping up. Before I didn't know it, but I'm redeeming myself, okay? I get 2 points for that. But yeah, I tell them like, hey, I bought my first firearm, online. PalmettoStateArmory.com to be exact. Okay, that's where I bought my first firearm, and I tell them that, and I get this crazy look like, oh my God, you can buy a gun online and you don't even need a license? Is that how these people get all these guns and all this? No, that's not how this crazy stuff is going on. It's not what you think. What it is that the Constitution gives you the right to bear arms to protect your family, your home, your valuables, for sporting and hunting and stuff like that. So it's not crazy that you can purchase firearms from a gun store or, a pawn shop that does sell firearms and, order them online, right? So this pertains to rifles and shotguns and handguns. Registration of firearms. As you can see, both of these say no. So you don't need to register your rifle, your shotgun, or your handgun. Now, the cool thing is, well, maybe lack of a better term, but the unique thing about that is you don't need a permit to purchase a firearm, and you don't need to register your firearm. There's a lot of talk in the gun community about registering your firearms. A lot of people are opposed to registering, their firearms because they're like, hey, what if something happens and, the government tried to take my firearms and, they can see what firearms I have because it's registered. You know what I'm saying? That's a valid point, but and then some people see it as necessary because if they register their firearms and their firearm happens to get stolen and somehow it gets found, they can trace it back to you. Just like how they put those trackers on the animals in the wild and somehow they can keep up with them. Or like how they can, make sure you pay your child support because, that's your baby because you signed a birth certificate. Or even if you didn't sign a birth certificate, they still can track you, right? Yeah. Anyway, so it's kind of I know I went a little left, but it's kind of like the same thing. They kind of flow like a yin and yang type thing, So you don't need a permit to purchase a firearm, people, and you don't need to register your firearm. Now, obviously, my SIG is registered. It's empty. It's no magazine. I don't even carry it. That's why it's empty. Sidebar. I should have it loaded because it's in my home. So, God forbid, if something were to happen, I have access to a loaded handgun. But it is empty for now. And while I'm recording this live, I'm actually going to load it up before I go to bed. So, when I ordered my first handgun, which is my SIG P320, it had to be registered because it was being transferred from the federal firearm license in, I think Palmetto State is in North Carolina or South Carolina. One of you guys can correct me below in the comments. But it was being transferred from there to Shoot Straight in Florida, right? So this is registered in my name, okay? And when I purchased my other two firearms, those were registered under my name as well. Licensing of owners, both say no and no. Okay, so I'm not really sure. Look, I'm a new gun owner. I don't know this like the back of my hand, so we're kind of learning some of this stuff I already know, like I've shared before. Some of this stuff I don't know, so I'm just going to use trusty Google really quick. Licensing of owners. A licensing agreement is a written contract between two parties in which a property owner permits another party to use that property under a specific set of parameters. Okay, so let's say I'm thinking that, let's say, okay, I give you one of my firearms. There doesn't need to be a contract. I can just give you my firearm. You don't need to sign no paperwork, whatever. I just can give you my firearm. You can just buy it from me, and that be it. And then even so, you can decide if you want to go get it registered or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, permit to carry. Now this is very, 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 very important because there's a lot of nuances to this. Okay. Do you need a permit to carry a rifle and a shotgun? No, but you need a permit to carry a handgun. Now, why do you think you would need a permit to carry a handgun but not a rifle and a shotgun? I'll give you a second to think about that. If you need a permit to carry a handgun but not a shotgun and a rifle, you can ride. That means that you can carry your rifle and your shotgun in your vehicle, right? Well, you can carry both in your vehicle, but you can't have your handgun loaded if you don't have a permit, if you don't have a CCW. So I'm kind of thinking, like, can my shotgun be loaded? So yeah, you don't need a rifle. I mean, you should want a rifle, but you don't need a permit to carry a rifle and a shotgun, but you do need a permit to carry a handgun because you can conceal carry a handgun. And if you don't know what that is or what that means, this is a holster. If you have a holster for your firearm, that means that you are carrying this bad boy on you, okay? This can't be inside your waistband. Okay, you can't have this in your waistband. If you don't have a CCW, you can't carry this on you. You can't have this on your person. When I say you can't have this on your person, I'm referring to you. You're the person that you can't have this on. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how they talk about it. So, yeah. Moving on. The castle doctrine. The castle doctrine is enacted. You're just protecting your home. You have a right to protect your home. If you don't have a license to carry and someone is breaking into your home trying to harm you or your loved ones, feel free to stop them from harming you and your loved ones, because I guarantee you that they're not thinking at all about, you or your loved ones. So stop them immediately if you have to. Home is your castle. You have a right to defend your castle. You have a right to defend your fort. You have a right to defend your home. That's what the castle doctrine is. So don't try to talk it out with somebody that's trying to come into your house, because I guarantee they don't want to talk to you. All right. A no net loss is enacted. You have a right to carry confidentiality provisions enacted. You have a right to carry if you have your permit. You have a right to carry in restaurants. That's a partial ban. Some places, some businesses, they don't allow firearms. Usually that business will have a sign that says no firearms allowed in this building. Okay, so if you go to a restaurant, you're carrying in a restaurant, but you see a sign that says no firearms, nobody is supposed to know that you're carrying. It's a concealed carry, right? So it's like, in a sense, you're not carrying because nobody knows you're carrying. And if you are carrying in a restaurant, don't go to the bar. Don't go to the bar and drink. You don't want to do that, because when you drink, you get drunk. It clouds the judgment. There's a lot of stupid people out here in the world. You see them on the news every single day of 2020. Right to carry laws shall issue. I'm assuming, let me not assume, because we're learning. And I'm a reading guy. All right. So right to carry laws recognize the right to carry concealed handguns when away from home without a permit, or without a permit issued by a state to an applicant who meets requirements established by the state legislature. Okay. So basically what it's saying is some states don't require you to have a license for you to carry, which is awesome. I don't know what state does that, but there's multiple states, obviously, that does that. Continuing on, right to carry reciprocity and recognition. I'll pause because I kind of prepped myself. I dead ass read that word and I was like, damn, it's not too often that I come across words that I can't pronounce. So I Googled the word and I clicked the sound. I had Google sound it out for me like I'm in second grade. And I was like, oh, that's how you say it? It's so simple to say. And then I forgot when we came up to it. So I guess I got a little shook. Oh, shit. I ran into that word that I couldn't say earlier.
Reciprocity.
Right to carry reciprocity and recognition. So this is very important. I have my concealed carry weapons permit registered in the state of Florida. If I go to Georgia, Georgia will recognize my concealed carry weapons permit because there's recognition of reciprocity. Do you understand that? If there's other states that don't, there's other states that do not recognize your carry permit. If you got it from, say, California gun laws are completely different. Your vice president is from California, and she, talks about banning guns. So it makes sense that California wouldn't practice reciprocity with the state of Florida and the state of Georgia, which is very, pro 2A. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is. Moving on, right to keep and bear arms, state constitutional provisions with provisions. Let's look that up. Again, hey, we all learning, okay? We're learning. Now, I know, so really quick before I look this up, and I'll try to make this very short. When I got my first firearm, I knew that I could purchase a firearm without having my license. To me, at the time, that's all I needed to know, is that I could have a firearm without having my license, because I already planned on getting my license, right? So the plan for me was to get my firearm, get my license, because I knew I was going to get my license, but I wanted to have my license so I can conceal carry. So I can carry this wherever I go without any restrictions, unless I'm going to the airport, or unless I'm going to a government building, unless, the courts is a government building. You get what I'm saying? So that was the plan. So I already knew that, and that's all I needed to know, is that I could purchase a firearm without a license, because I was going to get my license anyway. I needed my license because I wanted no restrictions. I wanted to be able to ride in my car with, this is loaded by the way. I wanted to ride in my car with my handgun safely by my side, concealed, where it's easily accessible. I wanted to have those extra options. It's like having perks. If you don't have your license, you can't carry, you can have this in your car, but it's a difference from how I can have it in my car. So let me give you a brief example, a brief breakdown, because this is very important. If you don't have your license, yes, you can have your firearm in your vehicle. However, it can't be loaded. Your firearm can't be loaded. Okay? I'll pick that up later. It can't be loaded. If someone is banging at your door, hey, you took my parking spot. You took my parking spot, you motherfucker. You took my parking spot. You can't easily have access to this firearm, rack one back, and decide to shoot the person. You can't do that. Okay? So this is the scenario. This is very important, because if you do that, your ass is going to jail. You're going to lose your firearm. You're going to lose your kids. You're going to lose your wife. You're going to lose everything that you worked for. Okay? So this is very important. Pay attention to this, okay? You don't have your firearm. This is how it has to be. And I'm going to be very extreme, because I don't want you to fuck up your life. All right? So this is extreme on purpose. This is how your firearm, I'll pick that up later. This is how you have to carry. If you're gonna have your firearm with you in the vehicle, this is how it has to be. All right, and you don't have your license. Okay, so what I have here is a container, or a bag, whatever, a gym bag, right? Pretend it's a gym bag. My firearm has no magazine inside of it. It is empty. It is not even loaded. It has to be in here, right? It has to be in here, zipped. If I can find a zipper. God damn it. Come on. Okay. This is zipped. My firearm, I'm in my car. All right. Firearm is tucked in this compartment. Then this compartment has to be tucked in the glove compartment, right? And then this can't be loaded. You know what? This can't be loaded. Your magazine, not your clip. This isn't called a clip. I made the mistake of saying, yo, I'm gonna need some extra clips, and my homies laughed me out the chat. This is a magazine. Okay? Banana clip, no, this is a magazine. It's not a clip. Your mag can't be loaded. This is This is 10 rounds, a 10 round mag. For each round, that's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You get the idea. All right. So y'all that like to ride with the extendo and the extra clip with the rubber grip and you want to ride around like that, you're gonna be adding some extra tenure to your stay in the penitentiary. All right. So don't have your magazine loaded if you don't have your firearm. Okay. They don't want you They don't want you to be able to access your firearm readily. They don't want it to be readily accessible if you don't have your license. Okay. That means that you can't just quickly grab it. You can't just quickly grab it and start the busting. Now, I'm going to say this. Do what the hell you want to do. People do what they want to do and they face the consequences. So know that there are consequences. Don't listen to me. Do not listen to me. Okay? Don't make the mistake of getting pulled over by law enforcement and you have a loaded firearm and you don't have your license. They're going to take your ass to jail. And you'll be lucky if you see the brighter day after that. They're going to lock your ass up. All right? Now, if you do have your license permit, this is where everything feels a lot better because you can have this loaded. This is 15 round mag. I got 2 of these. I got 30 rounds for that ass. If you come to me talking about a fucking parking spot and I got my kids in the car and you turning red hot and stuff like that, I got 15 rounds for your ass in this magazine. 30. Because I got 2 mags. I can have this loaded. I can have this on my chest. Riding around like this if I'm paranoid like a mug. You know what I'm saying? I can have this joint on my lap. I can have it in the center console. I can have it on the dashboard. You know what I'm saying? I can have it concealed in my holster. I can have it more seriously. I can have it on the side door. And there's a couple things that you want to consider. People nowadays, they're always in their phone texting and driving. Texting and driving. You know what I'm saying? Car accidents all day happening all around you. Cars blowing up, buildings on fire because people just texting and driving. Planes falling out the sky. The earth cracking. Volcanoes erupting. You know what I'm saying? Hell coming out the sky. You know what I'm saying? Because people just texting and driving. Accidents. Car accidents. Every goddamn day when I go to work. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I'm always late to work because there's a car accident every single day. I think I counted maybe like 75 car accidents this month alone. 3 today. So you want to consider if you are going to ride with your firearm, if you have your permit to carry, you're going to have your firearm with you. You want to consider where you're going to have it because if somebody slams in the back of you, that firearm is doing this. I don't know where to land. I don't have a safety. I got recalled for accidental misfire. And it could, either strike you or a loved one. So you don't want that to happen. You want to, obviously carry responsibly and be mindful of how you carry your firearm. But the benefits of having your license to carry is that you don't have to worry about that. If law enforcement pulls you over and they ask you, "Are there any weapons in the car, sir? Are there any weapons in the car, ma'am?" I don't know. That's my law enforcement voice. I feel like if I was in law enforcement, that would just be my law enforcement voice. I might get into law enforcement. Anyway. So if law enforcement pulls you over, check the temperature in the room. A lot of people don't know what that means. You might want to say, "Sir, I do have a weapon. I am licensed to carry." And make sure your hands are visible, right? Make sure your hands are visible. "Officer, how would you like for me to proceed? How would you like for me to Carry on. Give me instruction. Okay? If officer pull you over, and you sense that, cool. You know when people cool. Like, let's not be extra. You know when people cool. Okay? Even though they're police officers, they're people. So check the temperature. You got any weapons in the car? Nah. Because you don't, honestly, like, okay. Bullshit. All jokes aside, you don't have to tell them that you have a fire. If you're licensed to carry, it's a concealed weapon. You don't have to tell anybody that you're concealed carrying. You don't even have to tell the police. It ain't their business. You ain't doing nothing, and you're licensed to carry out. But if you want to let them know, let them know. Think about it. Think about it. So I know that was longer than. I feel like that's pretty much all you really need to know. A lot of people mistake not have. A lot of people think that okay, I have my firearm. I don't need to get my license, and they're lazy about going to go get. No, get your license. It's really not a long process. You know what? Since I have my permit, I'm gonna tell you the process from the best of my ability to remember. Hold on 1 second. You take your training course class, you get a certificate. You can go to the Florida Department of Agriculture.gov and you can apply online, or you can have the paperwork sent to you. I would say do it online. I'm pro online everything because it's a lot quicker and convenient. So what you also can do is you will order the fingerprint cards to be sent to you, because you'll have to send that to Tallahassee so they could get your fingerprints. Two things you can do. You can either go to a gun range that has I forget the term of the profession, but there's a guy there that's certified to do fingerprinting, or you could go to the police department and you can have one of the sheriffs do the fingerprinting for you there. Okay, so now you got two things. You got your certificate and you got your fingerprints done, right? Now what do? Now you have to pay for these things. You have to pay for them to process the fingerprints, so you have to get a money order. And you also have to pay for them to do the background check, so you have to get a money order for that. It's two separate money orders. I forget the price. It'll tell you on the application, but there's two separate payments. Don't make the mistake like I did. Mail everything in and forget the money orders. You don't want to do that. But luckily it worked out for me because I quickly realized that I forgot to do that, and I did it within the next hour or so, and everything was received in the same day. So what you also have to do is get a picture taken, a headshot, passport style portrait taken. You have to send that in. So you have to send in your certificate for completing the handgun training course. You have to send in your passport picture, because that passport picture is going to be put on your license. And you also have to send in your fingerprint cards. Okay? And you also have to send in the money order. So that's five things. Two money orders, fingerprint card, passport, and a certificate. And then you have to obviously submit the application. Once you do that, they process it. They say it's going to take 60 days and to infinity and forever, because however they process it, it's just slow as hell. I don't know. But honestly, guys, when I got my CCW, it took me I submitted. I don't remember the exact date, but it was definitely less than 2 months. I think I got it within like a month and a half, when I was surprised because they were like, oh, it's 60 days. So I think they just say that just for a time or whatever, because they have to run the background check, and not knowing how long the background check can take. And especially this was during all this chaos, during this this pandemic and stuff like that. So things were backed up. This is when there was like, oh, the United Postal Service was backed up because yada yada yada. So I got mine rather quickly. It's not really hard to obtain. If you do have your firearm and you can't get a concealed carry license for whatever reason, maybe because you're not supposed to have a firearm, hey, that's none of my business. But I will say this, who gonna protect you? By the time you call 911, the crime is done. I mean, there's data on this. By the time the crime is done, I mean, by the time police reach you or get to you, the crime already happened. You know, so you have to protect yourself. And this kind of ties into how you carry without your license. If you know you carrying and you don't have your license, and you know you live in not the best community or neighborhood, or if you're going somewhere where things can pop off, use your discretion. But just know, even if you are lawfully protecting, well, not really lawfully protecting yourself, because you're not supposed to have a firearm if you're not supposed to have one and you don't have your permit. But if you do, just keep in mind, if somebody comes at you and they're trying to kill you and you shoot them with a gun that you ain't supposed to have, your ass still going to jail. Somebody fact check that. But I believe you're still going to jail. So I think I forgot why I was even talking about all of this for the past 5-7 minutes or so. But anyway, moving right on. I'm going to just leave it at that note, because I kind of forgot why I even brought that shit up. Okay, so continuing on. Laws on purchase, possession, and carrying of firearms. No state permit is required. So basically it goes into detail, and some people are very like detail oriented, like it has to be word for word. You know what I'm saying? So laws on purchase, possession, and carrying firearms. Again, these are questions that I get a lot. Do I need a license to buy a firearm? Do I need a permit to carry a firearm? So this specifically says no state. This is in the state of Florida. If you are in a different state watching this video, check your state laws, because Connecticut or California may not reflect Florida state gun laws. So check your state gun laws. That is your due diligence, to check your state gun laws. Okay. So no state permit is required to possess or purchase a rifle, shotgun, or handgun. Got my first handgun without my license. Shortly after, I got my license. Shortly after, I got my shotgun. And I got another handgun. Oh, and guess what? My Glock 48, I purchased that off somebody. I didn't go to a gun store to buy that. I bought it off somebody in the street. And not from the back of their car, not in no alley. I bought it off the person. And it's good. I had it for a couple months now. Okay? I'm living testimony. Had it for a couple months now. Since September, actually. Carrying on. Carrying. Unless covered under the exceptions listed below, it is unlawful to openly carry on or about the person, which is you, any firearm, or to carry a concealed firearm on or about the person, which is you, without a license. A first-time carry license will cost $70. A renewal license will cost $60. Now, I'm glad they added that, because when you get your license, it's for 7 years. You have the right to carry for 7 years. That's a long time. A lot of people are like, okay, well, it's 7 years, I don't got to worry about renewing it. People forget to renew their license, and then it's a longer process to renew it. There's a longer process to apply for it again, because you forgot to renew it. So just be on top of renewing it. Probably renew it, the 2 years before it's supposed to expire, right? Okay. Antiques and replicas, unless it is used in the commission of a crime. The term firearm shall not include antique firearm. An antique firearm is any firearm manufactured in or before 1918. So without even continuing to read this whole paragraph, I don't know anybody that's trying to bust with a musket. So I'm just keeping moving. Machine guns, you ain't supposed to have a machine gun. That's only like military people, I guess, that's supposed to have like the machine guns. The one that go non-stop. AR is not an assault rifle. It's not a machine gun. Okay? A lot of people think ARs are assault rifle. This whole assault rifle ban pertaining to ARs, like, no, that's not what that means. Okay? Range protection. A person who operates or uses sports shooting range is not subject to an action of nuisance, and a court of this state shall not enjoin the use or the operation of a sports shooting range on the basis of noise or noise pollution. What is noise pollution? If the range is in compliance with any noise control laws or ordinances that apply to the range and its operation at the time of construction or initial operation of the range. Miscellaneous. Under Florida's law, there is no duty to retreat. Oh, so this is actually, okay, so maybe, you know what? I think this is fact checking what I was saying earlier about if you have a firearm and somebody's trying to kill you, you know, or cause bodily harm, and you kill that person with a firearm you're not supposed to have, you're going to go to jail. Remember I said that? Remember I said to fact check that? I think this is going to get to it. So let's read it. Under Florida law, there is no duty to retreat if you are attacked in any place you have a lawful right to be. You got a right to be at a club. You got a right to be at a bar. You got a right to be at a basketball court. You know, you got a right to walk down the street. You got a right to be in a park, you know, and film birds. Y'all remember that shit? That dude got harassed by this lady in New York, one of them popular parks in New York, for bird sighting, taking pictures and shit. Like, you got a right to do that. You don't own the birds. I can take pictures anyway. Instead, you may stand your ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if you reasonably believe it is necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to yourself or others. That is very, very, very important. If you're a gun owner, it's very important for you to like change your mindset. Like, you have the potential to destroy this person. When you're a gun owner, you have to be aware. You can't just be on your phone, being distracted. You have to be aware of your surroundings. I'm glad that they added that last bit in there, but people, man, y'all gotta relax, man. Like, y'all are quick to off each other over nonsense. And the nonsense that y'all are offing each other over, it has no value. No intangibles, like nothing. So have control over your mind, your body, your spirit. I hope you guys, appreciate it and learn something about the Florida state gun laws. It's really not rocket science. This is something that you could just Google and understand and figure out yourself. The Second Amendment is your right to bear arms. And I don't really understand the whole, I don't like firearms. I don't see the need to having a firearm. When it's your right to have one, you should get one, especially if you care and love yourself and your family. You want to protect them. Become a gun owner. Like, get your firearm. Learn how to shoot it. Go to the range. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that I failed to mention when I said, about becoming a gun owner, about, the process of getting your CCW, your concealed carry weapons permit. The other part of it is going to the range and training responsibly. You'll see how fun it is. You'll really enjoy it. I enjoy it. I thought I was just gonna get my firearm, boom, have it, go to the range, shoot every now and then, just have it so I can protect myself, protect my family if something go on. But it's really fun. It opens up your perspective, on life. It broadens your view on things. So this is Terrible Shooter, aka Operator Civil. I said civvy earlier, but I meant to say civil. That's short for civilian because I'm a civilian and I'm a gun owner. You can follow my series, Do I Look Like an Operator Yet, on my YouTube channel. That's Terrible Shooter. Search my shit. It's good. It's fun. I laugh at myself. I make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But it's all fun and games. I'm just doing it because I enjoy doing it. Whatever comes out of it, God will bless me with it. You know what I'm saying? You can also follow me on Instagram, Terrible Shooter. You can also follow me on Twitter, terrible shooter. All right. A lot of y'all follow me on Soul Snap. That is also my Instagram account, Soul Snap. You know, a lot of y'all watch my shit, but show some support too. If you're gonna watch my shit, like my shit, subscribe to my shit. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. Peace.